Hello again everybody, in this tutorial I want to explain how to animate like a pro using Clip Studio Paint. You know, there is a company called Nippon Animation. They had a workshop explaining how they manage their anime pipeline using Clip Studio Paint. Well, it's really cool. This video is quite interesting, but the problem is it's in Japanese and there is no subtitles, so it's quite hard to understand. I put the automatic subtitles, but it's a mess. So I tried to understand what was everything about, and based in this pipeline, I create my own process. And I want to share it here using this shot as an example. So let's begin the tutorial. Well, you know, I had this professional animation process, but I didn't have any project to use it. And then I met this crazy Mexican guy called Memo, who always make these fantastic animatics. So I asked him if I could produce one of his animatics all the way to the final animation. In this way I could test the animation method and I have real proof of his value. This character here is called Scarlet and was based on the original character from Memo. Please check the full video of this short, and you can check Memo's YouTube channel if you can. You can see this is the final shot. The background is a spherical image and I use it for the entire short. I only used one image, using it like this. I have a tutorial about how to use it, but soon this will be outdated because Clip Studio is going to put this feature integrated into the software, so it's quite cool. As you can see, this is not the standard workspace. So in this tutorial, I will explain how can you achieve a similar result, and this is really useful for people with small pen displays screens. I am going to explain how to use these auto actions in a real animation project. This is the standard Clip Studio workspace after you install the software. In the auto action palettes, we can see the necessary actions for the animation workspace. I'm going to share all the necessary files, don't worry about it, this will be in my Gumroad. To import these actions, just click the hamburger and look for import sets. Open the file .laf and you have the auto actions ready. Now we can drag and close all the palettes that are not necessary for the animation process. Finally, I'm just going to leave the command bar, the tools, the subtools, the tool properties, the layers, the animation cells, and the timeline. We need to delete some of the tools from the command bar. So just right click and delete until just these ones are available. Now, to move the tools, you need to press Ctrl and drag the icon like this. We can start dragging the auto actions to the command bar, change the image from the icon just by right click and pressing icon settings. Then specify image files and you just need to choose the corresponding icon. These are placed in order, so just change it in the same order and it will be easy. Press open and it's ready. Let's do the same for the rest. Drag the auto actions for the rough cell A and put the rest of the rough cells on top of it. So we will keep them in a folder. If we drag the auto actions close to the previous one, they will stay together. But if we move it a little bit away, it will create an automatic separation between the tools. I will try to keep similar tools together and separate the ones that are different. I'm not going to place the last auto action yet. I will explain later where to place it because in here it's not too useful. Now we can change the icons in the same fashion that before. Take your time in this step and verify that the images are correctly placed. The images have similar names to the auto actions and they are organized in the same order that the auto action, so it's easy to follow. I decided to change the layer opacity order to start from 100 and end in 0%. So I press Ctrl and drag the tools to the positions I prefer. I also decided to group the Save As and the Close File options together. I feel in this way I am not going to press this button by mistake. Now, to use the tools, create a new animation file. Here I have a preset for Full HD. You have to use the same values that I use here. I will change this template for a new one. All these will be shared in my Gumroad, so don't worry about it. Another interesting option for Clip Studio is this one: manage files using folders. If you activate this option, you can choose a folder where the project will be saved. Here you can see the thumbnails of the files that are in this folder. From here you can open the file. You can also create new files by right-click and press Add Page. Let's create a rough animation folder A. In the timeline, we must select cell 1. Here we'll see that the cell is a folder and we can use several layers inside it. For example, this blue one is for sketching. Now let's draw something. One moment, I'm going to change it for a pencil, like maybe this one. Okay, let's erase and start again. We can create the structure of the head, for example. And then we can use the black layer to refine it. This is the idea of this structure with layers, where in the same frame we can use different layers for different purposes. I create a specific draft layer for the charts. The charts are really important for animation. These charts represent the timing of the animation, like this one. You see this commonly used for animation, and this layer will not be rendered because it's a draft layer. And here also we have a layer for lights and another for shadows with different blending modes. Okay, now let's create an animation folder for line art. They are available from A to G. We select the cell in the timeline, and this is the structure of the whole folder. I use black for line art, red for closing open shapes, blue for shadows, green for the lines for lights, and there is also raster layers for filling the lights or the shadows, and another one for filling the colors. I'm going to make a rough sketch to show how to use these tools. In the red layer, I'm going to close the eyes so that they can be filled with color. In the blue layer, I'm going to draw the lines for the shadows. And in this green one, I'm going to put this light here. This head is terribly crooked. I'm going to straighten it up a little bit. It's just an example. Now I can fill the shadows with the fill tool. I'm using a gray color. Let's begin. Oh, as you can see, the fill spelled out of the shape. But this is solved easily. Just activate the option Close Gap. Remember to have active the option Refer to Layers, because this way it will refer to the line art in the vector layers. Now the shadows are filled. Let's continue with the colors. We can hide these lines that we don't need now. We can select a skin color. Now fill the eyes too. And with the shadow, it looks like this. Let's also create a light point using like this yellow white color, this color like white with a little bit of yellow, and this is what we have. We can create more cells to show the other tools. For example, I will select cell 5 and press this to delete the cell. If we select the cells and press copy track option, we can paste them using the paste button. We can also cut and paste the cells. Now it's possible to select the whole animation folder and copy it, and maybe cut the folder and paste it here, for example, to create 2 loops. Well, if we have different layers and we want to group them together in a folder, we can use this option. These buttons are used to move between keyframes. We can go to the next one or the previous one. And this is not the same that pressing the ones in the timeline, because this goes to the next frame, not to the next drawing or keyframe. Oh, this option is super useful. For example, if we have many cells and the names are crazy, like for example in here, if you press it, it will rename the cells in the order in which appear in the timeline. So it's quite useful because you can keep everything organized. Here we can add frames, and this will move all the keyframes behind. And we can remove frames with the minus option, and it will move everything. It's quite useful. These 3 bulbs represent the light table. I'm going to show you how to work with this. Let's say we have this drawing and this one, and we want to do the in-between. I'm going to create a cell in the middle. If I check cell 1 and cell 2, I can activate the light table here. Press register select layers. If I press the pink bulb, the color of the layers will change. I need to hide the color layer in cell 1. But how is this different than the onion skin? Well, because I can change the scale of the layer. I can rotate them, I can mirror the layer, I can move the layer. But none of these modifications are made to the cell. These are just in this place. As you can see, everything is normal. I can turn off the light table, or I can reset the changes of the layer to the original state. I can use actual color to make everything to the real colors. It's useful sometimes. I can change the opacity of all the layers at the same time, or I can do it individually. The light table is quite useful, and it can work for a lot of things. This group has the onion skin presets, like show one in front or one behind, or this one for one in front and behind, and other typical options. There are also the onion skin settings, and you can adjust whatever setting you need. The next option allows you to change the opacity of any layer in 10% increments. You can see how it changed. Now 50% and 100% is super fast and precise. For this last tool, I must use a raster layer. This option is really useful. For example, you can make a very basic drawing and you can erase a percentage of this drawing. You can erase 20% until you reach the transparency you want, and then you can work over and continue working. But this is not changing the opacity of the layers. This is erasing the drawing. So you can erase the entire drawing in 20% increments. It's really useful when you are sketching. This is a real project handled from the beginning to the end using these tools and these techniques. These are the different shots that make this short animation. When you open the file, the thumbnails move to the side, so you can continue having the project available. Let's open this file too and play the shot. I can close these files now and open file 19. You can change the zoom to the thumbnails to make it big or small. This is the shot I'm going to use to explain the process of in-betweening. I'm going to adjust the size of this window, maybe here. I use rough animation folders for the charts and the finished animation folder. Here are the key positions and the breakdowns. But I need to be honest, one of the things I find annoying of using this method is that when I am working in different layers, sometimes I want to be in the black layer, but it is in the blue or red, and I need to be aware of that, and I start painting and it's annoying. So I create additional auto actions that make this process a lot simpler. So to solve this, I create these auto actions. This set helped you a lot. You can hide or show specific layers names, and to use them I create this additional tab in the quick action window. You're gonna open this window by pressing the letter Q. This window is very useful and I use it constantly to have all the tools I use most of the time, and they are always available. I create this tab called additional animation and we can see the tools in action. For example, in this folder, the select layer is the blue one. If I create a new cell and start drawing, it will do the line art in the blue layer, and this is not what I want. I want to be in the black one. Then to have all the cells in the black layer, I just press this black color. If I use the one with the number 1, it makes the change to one layer and go to the next keyframe. As you can see, this previous frame is changed. Now it's in the black. But if I press the black with the number 10, it will do this the next 10 keyframes. As you can see, all the folders have the black layer selected now. I can do the same for the other layers. I can select the red layer in all my keyframes, the green layer, the color layer. I can also hide 10 green layers. I'm going to delete these unnecessary layers now. As you can see, I can hide or show as many layers as are necessary, and these automatic actions will be shared in the same Gumroad file, and you can install everything just like we did with the previous one. Now I'm going to show how to implement the remaining auto action, the one I didn't put in the command bar. This one can be used in the rough animation or any folder with raster layers. For example, I'm going to paint this thing here. Let's say I want to copy and paste this to a new cell. As you know, this cannot be done by just copy and paste. So let's open the auto action. Drag this to the quick access window. I'm going to change the icon to the last one called paste to new cell. And that's it. Now with the selection area tool, I'm going to select what I want to transfer to a new cell. Copy the selection and move the cursor to the new cell. To paste this, I just press the button we create, and I find this more useful if this button is in the launcher. If you want to do this, just drag the icon to the launcher to be able to use it here. I already have it here, so I will delete this new one. Just right click and press delete. As you can see, the process is really easy. Just select, copy and paste from the launcher. Now I'm going to do the in-betweens of the clean animation. In the quick access, I have the brushes and pencils that I like to use for animation. This is the one I use for sketch, and this one for inking. The most important thing to keep in mind when doing in-betweens is that you should always start with the halves. For example, the first drawing for this segment is the number 15. Now I can activate the onion skin and we can try to find the half between the two drawings. But to avoid messing up the line art layer, I will create another layer in this cell. This will be a reference and it can be deleted when you finish. Now I'm going to create the lines that represent the movement of the chin in time. And with this information, I can find the center of the drawing. Using this drawing, I can paint the eye open, for example. So the middle will be here, here. Now I can move this part of the drawing to the approximated position. I'm going to delete these lines and I'm going to use the light table to show another option for doing the in-betweens. First, I activate the light table and then I select frames 1 and 2. Click on register layers. Here you can see the two selected cells and in the center the one I'm going to draw. I'm going to change the color of cell 1 and adjust the transparency. Now I'm going to do the same as before and find the center of the most important points for the face. I can move the layer 2 until it is in the middle position and I'm going to use it as reference for the in-between frame. If I reset the layer 2, I can see how this frame was in the original position. And in this way I can keep all the consistency in my drawings. I will keep finding reference points. Now I can paint the eyes of the character in the correct position. I will adjust the eyes here. I want the eyes looking down. The mouth is an intermediate position between these two, but I'm going to reset the layer to find the position. First, I'm going to create the outline of the face, the jaw, the front hair. If you want to animate long hair, the best option is to use the polyline, especially if the movement is slow. I tried to do it freehand, but when I played, the result of the animation was wobbling. It looks terrible. So with this tool, the result is much more consistent in time. Now I can find the mouth with an intermediate pose between the two. Let's check the result. I need to finish the hair in the back. Remember that when two lines intersect, the in-between line must also intersect. If the lines are not exactly where you want, you can use the pinch vector line tool. And this is one of the advantages of using vector layers. You can modify the lines after you finish, and it's like using the liquify tool. So you can adjust the lines later and get the results you want. I'm going to put the missing lines. First, this part of the hair. I'm going to put the freckles. The freckles are drawn in the green layer. I must check if they stay in the right position. It looks like they are correct. Now I'm going to delete this provisional layer. This layer is just a guide. To move between keyframes, I changed the keyboard shortcut to F8 to previous keyframe and F9 to next keyframe, F5 to play the animation, and I changed F6 to create new cell. To be able to color the eyes, I must close the area using my red layer. I will close them, and this layer can be disabled for the render, but this will allow me to close this area and fill it properly. Now we can do the next in between, which can be 13 or 17. To keep everything more organized, I will change the name of this cell to 1D, and I will create cell 13, and this will be 1C. Another option that works well is to copy and paste the vectors, especially when there is not much change in the drawing, like in this case in frame 5 to 6, in which the change occurs only in the hair. But it can be used when the drawings are close together and the changes are not too big. The rest of the animation was done using onion skin. This is a time lapse of the in-betweens for this shot. To finalize the animation, I use the technique of copying and adjusting part of the drawing, or painting parts of the face. I use the pinch vector tool a lot to adjust strokes, or I move vectors using the object tool. I did that especially in the hair, as you can see. And sometimes I create extra layers to find the position of some parts of the face. One of the things I forget to explain is that you can use any color in the layer and it will keep the color of the layer. I mean, if you use a pink color and you are in the black layer, the color of the lines will be black. If you are in the blue, it will be blue, and in the rest, it will be the same. And that's one of the good things about this layer, because you don't need to worry about what color your pen is. It will be changed automatically. One of the big problems in this animation was the freckles. The freckles didn't feel attached to the face, so I ended up creating the path of the freckles between the two keyframes. And in this way, I could place the exact position for each one. I can tell you that following the position of the freckles was very difficult. Finally, it's time to color the character. I left the body in a separate animation folder because it never moves, so I can do just one drawing. And this is the animation with colors. It took me about 4 hours to do all the in-betweens. Thank you for watching. I hope this can be useful for someone. I know that by using this technique, you can make really professional animations. And Clip Studio is used for real anime companies, so I know it can work for everybody. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!